Hey everybody, how's it? Aloha, good morning. This is Geebz, your old composer here at the Decomposer Lounge, where I break it down, pull back the layers for the pure listener, and have a little fun listening to some music. And I've had a lot of people kind of ding me about this new single from KIRK HAMMETT, his own project apparently, and this is an instrumental called High Plains Drifter. And I've been getting a lot of requests for instrumentals. I get the new one from Polyphia they want me to do, or people are suggesting and stuff. And but I thought I would just, because it's just a great morning and I just felt really good, and there's just something, I don't know much still about Metallica, except I have seen now one or two movies and stuff, and the one thing I know about Kurt that I seem to resonate with is he's a super chill cat, and he likes to surf. So, I don't know about me being super chill, but I like to surf, so we have something in common. Oh, and I know a few chords on the guitar, so that makes it all work. All right, guys, so let's do this. This is KIRK HAMMETT, High Plains Drifter. All right. I know I got to find a place to stop. I think this was a good one. What I love about what I'm hearing thus far, I don't know what's going to happen after this stop, is that this is not about, as far as I can hear, about Kurt's ability as a guitar player, but more about his ability as a composer, like pouring out his soul and and who he is, at least thus far. And one of the super unique things that I'm hearing here is that you hear the cello opening up in unison with the guitar, even with the fast little phrase, which, you know, is sometimes a little more difficult for a cello or something to be as plucky and precise as a guitar, unless it was done in pizzicato. But so far with the violin and the tremolo violin and the cello, and I don't know if that's the French horn, I wasn't listening that deeply to it. These are single instruments, not sections thus far, that I'm hearing. And it is purely a piece of work, not of KIRK HAMMETT, the guitar player, as if we're going to hear, at least to this point, you know, his abilities as a guitar player. This, to me, highlights his abilities as a composer that's going to make you feel music. And that's exactly what I feel with this. I feel everything that I said when I opened it up, like a super chill surfer kind of guy, is exactly what I'm actually hearing in this piece. Now, I don't know if this is a one-off or if he's got a whole project that's all instrumental. I'm definitely going to check it out afterwards. But even when it comes in with that little kind of snare, the marching snare that kind of comes through and stuff, and he starts to build, and then you have this, you know, vibrato kind of guitar sound that's reminiscent of that 60s kind of, or the guitar sound that they would use in some of the older Western and stuff like that. And you know, watching the video as well, you know, the colors that are being chosen and stuff, you could tell that he's pulling in a different path in his music abilities and showing it. And this is my first exposure. If he's done many of these things before, well, and this was the very first time I've heard something like this. But I love this because this is a piece of work written by a musician, not a musician who wrote a piece of work to highlight himself as a musician. And before I go on, I got to say this. This is the kind of work that should, could, and most likely will transcend KIRK if he wants to go in that direction. As a composer for film and TV and stuff, I'm already in my head going, this would have been sick music for, what was that famous film with Antonio Banderas, Looking for Bucho or whatever it is. I mean, that kind of a film. This would have been badass for that. Anyhow, so, but there is this little change coming up, so we'll see what we got coming up.
Yeah, it looks like I opened up my mouth a little too early, obviously. You know, and I know that there was a lot of room still left for me to listen to the growth of the arrangement and stuff, and that's exactly what happened. You know, then he levels up into a little bit more of what I think we're all used to hearing from him. But here's something else that's great. The layers that, when I came back in, the phrase repeated, the section had repeated about 3 different times. And when I mean section, it's like 8 bars of chord changes and stuff. And each time it got more advanced in the arrangements and stuff. Then it got thicker, you know, with the arrangements. A little more layering was starting to happen there. But harmonically, I mean, the harmonies that were being used, the arrangements that were being written, really pushed it beyond the comfort that I had explained earlier, which was, you know, there's a solo, cello, violin, guitar, kept it nice and simple, then blows it up as he started layering through it. But here's the one thing I want to point out before I dig out here, well, two things. One is, this is his project. This is his ears. And so it's so apparent to me the difference between what we're used to in Metallica, in that sound, and how this was engineered and the way this was arranged, not only in its composition, but in its engineering. By far a lot more theater of the mind style of engineering. Very clean, very precise. The drumming was great. I love the bass. Would have loved to have heard it a little nudge higher, but I love the bass arrangement. And then of course he does give us some of himself there at the end when he does his solo and stuff, and he stays within his skin. You know, he's not trying to push himself outside of the realm of just complementing the arrangement. You know, this was not an expose of his skill set as much as it was his creative ability. So I was just completely blown away by this. This is really super cool. I'm actually going to look, I obviously watched this off of YouTube, but I'm going to look it up on Spotify to see if this is part of a bigger project. And so totally stoked. I'm glad I heard this. I at first, when it first came across, because everybody's, like I said, been bombing me for the Periphery one and a bunch of other ones and stuff, and I went, oh, KIRK did something? And I just felt, like I said earlier, I just felt like when I saw in one of these documentaries that he liked to surf, I was like kind of, oh, so a soul brother there, kind of a thing. And so I kind of was pulled to see what other, you know, that other side of him that, you know, we've already, I think, for myself, I experienced through, you know, the documentaries and stuff, and curious to see that other side creatively. It's just like, ironically, it's just like the guitar player for Megadeth, Kiko Loreno, I think his name is, forgive me, I'm not sure, where he is just this phenomenal monster guitar player, but then if you listen to his other stuff, I follow him on Instagram, incredible fusion Latin guitar skill set and stuff. There's always these other sides of our favorite, you know, musicians and stuff that we may see in this way, and then all of a sudden they go hide, put on a baseball cap, and go run into a smoky jazz bar, and they're all about I don't know. Anyhow, this was great. This was a great way to start my Sunday. You guys take care of yourself. Have a great day. Aloha. All right.